Hello and welcome to episode 7 of the Victorian Studio podcast. My name is Maureen and I'm coming to you from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, and today is Monday, July the 13th, 2015. I want to thank any viewers who have returned after watching the first few episodes. Thank you for coming back and visiting once more, and welcome to anybody who is checking me out for the first time. I hope you enjoy your visit here today. Well, it's been quite a week, very eventful for me. After doing 6 episodes of my podcast and receiving some messages from viewers asking if there was a Ravelry group associated with this podcast, and also some sweet encouragement from viewers, most specifically from Valeria in the Netherlands. Thank you, Valeria. I've started my own Ravelry group. So if you are a member of Ravelry, if you would like to join the Victorian Studio podcast group, please do. I encourage anybody that wants to talk more about their knitting, spinning, or any other fiber-related hobbies or just general chatter to please come on over and join the conversations going on over there. I'm also thrilled that we're even going to have our first giveaway, so I'll speak more about that a little bit later. So besides doing some preparation and work for setting up the Ravelry group, I've been busy this week doing some knitting, just a little bit of spinning. I wish I had gotten more done, but knitting took up most of my time this week. So I might as well start with that. The thing that I was working on the most this week, and I got one item done, is my Hermione's Everyday Socks. And I've got one sock done so far. So this is a free pattern on Ravelry by lueder, and just show you what I'm making it out of if you haven't seen it before. This is the Misty Alpaca yarn in the Blues in the Night colorway. And like I say, I've got one sock done and that much left for the second sock, more than enough for the second sock. So I'm going to have plenty of leftovers for maybe even something else. So I really love this colorway. It has pops of purple and green and teal and even a little bit of browns and blacks in it. Might be a little hard to see on camera, but this pattern is just so easy to do. Although I did change how she wrote the cuff area. She made it a 1x1 rib and I did a 2x2 rib. But otherwise I did the pattern the same, the Eye of Partridge heel with the heel flap and gusset, and I did my Kitchener stitch, again watching the YouTube video that I've linked before, but I will link again in my show notes. And every time I make it, it seems to get better and better, so I still have to follow the instructions. I still don't know it off by heart, but it is getting easier and easier to do. So I'm really pleased with how that's turned out. I'm using a size 2 US 2 needle. It's a little bigger than I usually do. It's a 64 stitch cast on, but I wanted these a little looser and softer for some house socks. I didn't want them too tight a gauge, so really pleased with it. It's a 4-row pattern repeat, very easy to remember, so I'm really pleased the way the first one at least has turned out. So hopefully this week I'll be able to start sock number 2. So that was my first knitting project that I had worked on. I'll show you these first. The other thing that I was working on this week that I'm getting near completion, but not quite. I was hoping I could get it done on the weekend, but couldn't quite. If you haven't been here before, I'll just quickly refresh the story. I started out by knitting this first mitten. It's called the Night Owl Mitts by Jorid Linvik, And when I finished the mitten, I found that it was too small for my hand. So I left it, and I didn't want to tear out all that work. I decided I would double up the yarn and use a larger needle to make the mitten more of my size. So I've been using the Ultra Alpaca Fine yarn in both the color 1245, which I believe is the black, and 1201, which is a creamy white color. And like I say, I doubled up the yarn to make the first of the pair that will fit my hand at least. And I completed this last week. And now I've been working on mitten number 2. And I'm almost complete. I've got just the fingertip decreases to do and the thumb. So like I say, I've been using larger needles. These ones are US 2s, 2.75 millimeter, and I've been doubling up the yarn so that it makes a larger size, which when you compare them, I compared last week, the difference is quite noticeable in size. So I'm looking forward to getting the second one done. And as you can see, not much more to do on those. So I'm looking forward to getting those done in the next few days. So the other mitts that I have been working on didn't get any work on them done, or any work on them this week. This was my Aran mitts that I've been working on, and I, like I say, only gotten so far the cuff done for the second one, but because I was concentrating on both the other mitt and the sock, these didn't get any work on them this week. So hopefully once I finish the owl mitt, I can then start the second of the Aran mitts. So looking forward to working on those again. And so that's about all that I've been knitting on this week. And when it comes to spinning, I wish I had done more. I've got about 50% of my first braid of fiber completed in my Tour de Fleece project. And my goal was to finish spinning both braids of this Malabrigo. And it's in the Cereza colorway. So this is braid number 2. Number 1, I already drafted. I have in this basket, and I pulled it out and pre-drafted a bunch so it's easier to spin on my Turkish spindle. So what I've been doing is, as I've been pulling out the Malabrigo red from the braid, every once in a while I'll also use some of this soy silk that I got at the Blue Hills Fiber Festival. And what I do is I just pull off a little bit as I go, and then just braid, or just spin that in with the red Malabrigo, and it really spins in nicely, and it's creating a very nice texture, I think, of the red and white. So I'm looking forward to working on that a lot more, because I am a little bit behind. I was hoping to get more done on that, but all day Saturday hubby and I were out. We went and took in Jurassic World. We had a great time, and then we went out for dinner afterwards. So that was most of my Saturday hours that I would normally be either spinning or knitting. So it was a nice day out, and a lot of fun watching that movie. We of course went to see Jurassic Park when it first came out, and I have seen all other movies in that, and even a few years back, it was just after, I guess, Jurassic Park 3 opened up in the theaters. Daughter and I went on a local garage sale just in our local area here. We made the rounds to the houses, and I found a really nice jacket that was for sale by one of the neighbors a few streets over. And the reason why I was interested in the jacket, it was an actual crew jacket from the filming of Jurassic Park 3. And I'll insert a picture of that here. And yeah, it's too bad it's so hot out. It would have been nice to be able to wear that jacket to the actual showing of Jurassic World. But it's a beautiful wool and suede jacket with the Jurassic Park logo and the crew logo on the front. I don't know where or in what capacity you know, they got this jacket, if it was actually the husband of the lady who lived there or what, but she was selling it for a pretty reasonable price, so hubby just loves his Jurassic Park jacket. I think it looks really neat. So just thought that was kind of a neat thing to share. Yes, we are geeky in this family. We have all kinds of geeky collections and things like that, which I've talked about before, and I'll talk about some more as well. So that's all that I've been working on this week as far as knitting and spinning is concerned. But I wanted to share with you a historical finished object that I had completed in January. I had started it in December after watching Sarah Lawsey, and I hope I'm pronouncing that right, Sarah, apologies if I'm not, of the Pearls of Color podcast. Sarah is a knitter and a designer, and was on her podcast had a call out for test knitters for a new cowl design that she had. But I had never done a test knit before, so being a fairly new knitter, I thought, well, I could ask. All she could say was no, right? So I emailed her and asked if I could do a test knit for her, and she said sure and sent me the pattern, and I just loved making this. I already had some Malabrigo worsted in my stash, so I thought I would just use that because it was just so soft and squishy. And so I started the pattern for her, and I got it finished, like I say, in January, and showed her, and she liked it so much that she actually used some of my photographs on my project page in her actual final published pattern. So I was honored. Thank you, Sarah, for that. So here it is. Like I say, it's the Winter Breeze cowl, and I just love, I had never done this, I think it's called feather and fan pattern before, and this Malabrigo wool just shows it up so nicely. There's also a faux cable type of edging on here where you carry over some of the stitches. Hope I can show that well. But I really love this pattern. It really came out very well. And it was so easy to knit up, and it's just, like I say, a closed cowl. I won't put it on today because it's so darn hot, but it goes around my neck twice, and like I say, is very soft. And this colorway is the Verde Adriana colorway for the Malabrigo worsted. I used number 9 needles, US number 9s, and like I say, used 2 skeins of that yarn. So Sarah was just so lovely. She really liked the way mine turned out and was very complimentary. And when she joined our group last week, she offered to give away a copy of her pattern to our viewers. So I will set up a thread in our Ravelry group, and we'll have entries for, I guess, a couple of weeks. Anybody that would like to have a free copy of her Winter Breeze cowl, you can just post an entry in that thread on our group. So Sarah, thank you so much. It's my very first giveaway, and I really do appreciate the kindness that you've shown in the last few months that I've known you, and you know, you've been so very sweet, and thank you very much for our very first giveaway. So I hope that if you're a Ravelry Group member, that you'll join in on that. It's a wonderful, wonderful pattern, easy to knit up, and really beautiful in lots of different colors and yarns. If you look on some of the projects, there's some beautiful, beautiful works that have been done. So the other thing that I thought I would talk about today, I've been asked by some viewers, is about my cross stitch. Now, I haven't done cross stitch in a very long time. Unfortunately, I have a project that I'm only partially done. I really have to get back to. So hopefully getting all this out again will get my button gear and get me going cross stitching again. Although it's going to take away from my knitting time and spinning time, but oh well, that's not a bad problem to have. So I thought I would start with my first project that I've done, cross-stitching. Now, my mom is a wonderful cross-stitcher. She's made incredible, huge works, and I know I was inspired by her to try cross-stitching for myself. And she was wonderful at showing me, you know, how to get started and that kind of thing. So back in, I think it was about, 93, I have this dated, thank goodness, I did my first ever cross-stitch project. And what it was something that I wanted to make for my husband for Christmas. So for a Christmas gift, I wanted to surprise him with a handmade item. So hubby, he likes anything with wolves, and I found a pattern that had a wolf standing behind some beautiful big birch trees. Now, this was a huge project though, and of course I had only decided to do this project a few months before Christmas, so I knew I didn't have time to make the whole design as written. So what I did was I just did the wolf's head and a few, peeking out from some trees. So I got to work, and I could only work on it when he either wasn't around or kind of, when he wasn't watching too closely at what I was doing, because I wanted it to be a surprise. So I was, trying every night to get this thing done by Christmas time, and I had a small daughter at the time. She was only 2, so, I had to, in between taking care of her and working full time, I had to kind of squeeze in any time I could to get this darn cross stitch done for Christmas. And so I got the wolf done, the wolf's head, and the trees done, and then I started on the background. I'm thinking, oh geez, why did they have to kind of make this background so boring and all in black? And silly me, because I was a new cross stitcher, didn't realize that the cloth that you cross stitch onto comes in different colors, and if I was smart, I would have started this on an actual black piece of Aida cloth rather than white, because yes, silly Maureen had to cross stitch in each and every square of the background of this cross stitch. So I hope you could see that all right without the glare from the frame's glass. But that's what I did for hubby for Christmas one year. And like I say, if I was smart, I would have realized that, I should have used black Aida cloth, so I didn't have to cross stitch in all of that black in the background. But again, learning from my mistakes, I was very pleased with the outcome regardless. I really love this this small project, like wolves as well. So, and he was very pleased with it. So that was the very first cross stitch pattern that I had ever done. Nothing like starting small, right? So after that, I've done a few other little small things. I've only kind of chosen a few things to show you today because some of the things that I've done are holiday themed and are packed away with my holiday stuff, so I'll show some of that later on in other episodes, but I got out a few things that I could at least find today. Another item I did was a piece of clothing, actually, and my mom gave me, she gave me so many cross-stitch magazines and books, and wonderful reference materials. And one of them was a Looney Tunes pattern book, and I just love Bugs Bunny and all the characters on there. I mean, I grew up with Bugs Bunny, and one of the things I wanted to do was the Wile E. Coyote in this pattern book. So instead of making it just, you know, on a frame, I wanted to put it on a shirt. So I put it on a sweatshirt. And so here's Wiley. Hope you can see that okay. It's going to be kind of hard to show. Wile E. Coyote on a sweatshirt. Now, I did this probably right after the wolf. So it's probably 1993 or 94 when I did this. And it still looks wonderful after numerous washings. I mean, I wear this all the time. The poor sweatshirt's starting to fall apart, but the cross stitch still looks good. And this was the first time I've ever done cross stitch using waste fabric. What it is you lightly sew a piece of cloth that looks like Aida cloth, but it has kind of a glue in it. So you cross stitch on it right through your shirt, and then you pull the waistcloth out so it goes right through the other side. And then you wet the waistcloth after, and you use tweezers, and you just pull the threads of the waistcloth out, and then you're left with your pattern right on your shirt. So I just love this sweatshirt. I wear it all the time, you know, for PJs or when it's colder out. So Wiley, he's been around for, oh, what, probably 20 years now. You know, so he's held up well. So I've done that. I also did a pattern for our ensuite bathroom, and when I did it, we had we currently have 3 cats. We already had our black cat and our gray tabby cats. So when I did this pattern, it has cats in it. I changed the pattern up so that 2 of the cats looked like our own cats. So that is this pattern, and it is called Don't Leave This Room a Catastrophe, so it's perfect for the bathroom. And the black cat and the gray cat below are different from the pattern. I made them so that they look like our 2 cats, Dakota and Sheba. So so that was a lot of fun to do, and it still hangs on in our bathroom today. And it's pretty old too. I guess it's probably at least 10 years ago that I did that one. Well, I guess, yeah, it's probably about 10 years because we didn't have Tawny yet. Like I say, I've done cross stitch also for holidays, and no, I don't have all of them here because some of them are packed away with some of our decorations, but the ones I were able to find today I wanted to share with you. This one was quite an intricate pattern that I made for Easter. So it's Easter bunnies with flowers and the Easter basket with the Ukrainian style eggs. So this took a while to do, but I was thrilled with the result. So that goes up on our wall in the dining room every Easter. And when Christmas rolls around, it gets the same spot. It gets the Christmas picture put up. And I've done a Santa. Oh, sorry for the glare. But this is like an old world Santa, and I just love this this pattern. So again, it took a little while to do, but was a lot of fun, and I enjoy putting that up every year. I also have another cross stitch that I put up at Christmas time, and like I say, I have it put away right now, and I'll share it on a future episode. That's the 2-part pattern of a house, so like a Christmas decorated house. So I'll show that again. So those are a few of the large cross stitch patterns I've done, but I've also done like when I host Christmas dinners or fall dinners, I'll make place cards or do some kind of decoration for the table. So I've also done Christmas decorated place cards for family members with either their name or their initial and some kind of other decoration on that. I've also done even a Star Wars cross stitch. This one I actually designed myself when I worked on Rebel Scum. That was the online Star Wars website. We would get together to the whole group of us. The only time we got together in real life was during conventions. So every couple of years we would get together, and we'd always trade little gifts to each other, and I've given a few other items, but one of the items that I did cross stitch for all the guys on Rebel Scum was a stormtrooper. It's actually a fridge magnet, has a magnet on the back, but that's a design that I did myself because we worked for the website called Rebel Scum. I had to do a freeze you Rebel Scum fridge magnet for all the guys. So like I say, I designed that myself. Again, using Excel. So I guess that's where I get the knitting way of designing, is because I also used it for cross stitch. The same thing. I would just kind of design it out on Excel first and then stitch it up. So yeah, I made about 10 or so of those for the guys on Rebel Scum. So that's a little while ago. So I guess that's about all I have to share with you today. It's a little bit quicker. But the other thing I wanted to add on at the end here was something that I saw on one of the threads on Ravelry this week was somebody asking how other people can see their projects that weren't members of Ravelry. So I know that there are a lot of people that maybe either watch this podcast or other podcasts, and people say, just look on my project page for information on how I made this, that, or the other. And unless they're a Ravelry member, they couldn't really see what their projects were and how they made them. So I was interested to see this thread come up, and I'm sure that people have been on Ravelry longer than I have may already know about this, and you might not be interested in this at all, but if you didn't know about this little trick, I'll just share it with you at the end here on how to make your projects visible to non-Rav viewers. So I hope you enjoy just this short little tutorial. And I'll just say here then, before I leave, thank you for joining me again today. I hope you enjoy seeing what I'm up to, and I hope you'll visit me again in my Victorian studio. Bye-bye for now. Okay, this is just a short tutorial on how to make your project page viewable for people who aren't members of Ravelry. I've opened up my notebook here and gone to my project page. So to make any project viewable by non-Rav viewers, click on the project and you'll get your regular page that you can edit. Now you don't have to actually go to the edit pencil icon. All you need to do is go over here to the share this icon and click on that, and you'll see the default view. This page is only visible to Ravelry members. And click on share this page, and the down arrow will give you the other options, either invite access with a link or public viewable to all or visible to all. So if you select that, you can share that link with other people if you wish. You can send a message on Rav, on Facebook, Twitter, or pin it. So there's a good way to share your projects without people having to join Ravelry. So what I'll do now is I'll go back and log out. Now I'm on my page as a non-member. So you'll see I'm here on the Victorian Studio project page, but I am not logged in. So what I've done is all of these projects you see here I have selected to be visible by the public, and each one has to have that setting changed individually. So say if you have a family member that you want to share an item with, you can, or if you have a gift that you don't want to share with other people, you can hide it. You don't have to share it. So I'll just click on the line again, and here's the view that anybody who's a non-Rav member would see it exactly the same way, with the notes, your details, project information, and photos. So like I say, this is a great way to share your projects with other people that maybe you couldn't before. Like I say, family members or friends who maybe aren't knitters but still would like to see some of your projects and what you've been up to. So I hope that this helps you and that you enjoyed seeing how to do this little feature on Ravelry. So thanks again, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.